Welcome to If We Had the Pencil podcast. I am Sean Green, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Matt Jackson. All right, so we're on to part two, Matt. We're WrestleMania week. We get two nights, so you get two podcasts all in one. So let's
Woohoo!
just dive right into it and let's get it going. We're going to start talking
Yep.
about night two ahead of time. All right, so first up, this has been confirmed as the opening match for night two. It's the triple threat between Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
So I'll let you kick this one off, and then I'll just chime in.
All right. Uh, I would have EO winning because I would have Rhea and Bianca so focused on themselves, taking each other out, that EO can sneak the win without it looking cheesy. Because you got to keep EO looking legit. So they just keep trying to buck off on EO and focus on themselves, and then finds a way to take it to her advantage. And then at some point, we'll see chaos with Naomi, I'm sure, trying to get at Bianca, which may or may not bring Jade into the factor of it. But yeah, the smart move is to let EO retain, in my opinion. Give her a good run. Don't give her like a charity. It's a charity run of like you won it between Chamber and WrestleMania, so you're just holding the title for a couple weeks for storyline purposes. Like let's give her a proper run. She deserves it. She's worked her tail off. She does crazy stuff. Fans like her. She seems popular in the locker room, so I think let's give her some flowers and give her a decent title reign. And then we can have Rhea and Bianca and whoever, they can start fighting stuff out and make that intriguing as well.
Yeah, I agree. I got Io going over. I think that the way this whole storyline has been set up, this is 100% like showing that Io's going over. Even last night, right? Like, Rhea comes out, drops her piece, basically drops the my bad, I lost my title, which okay, cool, and then Io comes out, she doesn't even get a word in, and then Bianca comes out talking about like, oh, if you two are gonna be talking about me, I'm like, Io didn't say a word, you dumbass, but
I know.
whatevs. Like,
Well,
this is gonna come across a lot like me shitting on Bianca Belair, which I'm not, but like the fact that she was like, you two are talking about me, it's like, bro, Io didn't get a word in, but okay, like let's be consistent here. Like,
are you that insecure?
exactly,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But I think she might be, which is great
yeah.
because like moving on from this match in particular, there's a couple of things to take away from this. First off, I know in part one we really talked about the love triangle, right? Or
Yeah.
whatever the hell it is between Naomi, Bianca, and Jade Cargill. And I think that the big takeaway in all of this is really that that storyline for Bianca carries way more weight. I honestly believe that that whole mess is going to continue on between now and SummerSlam.
Yes.
So I don't see a lot of follow on for that. To your point about, Bianca and Rhea just trying to be alphas and basically, shoving Io aside and Io just being like, yo, mofos, I got the damn belt. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I think that all lends itself to like it's pretty predictable. The only face, if you will, in this, even though on paper it looks like three faces going ahead
It's Io.
against each other, it's Io. Rhea's being kind of a bitch,
Yeah.
and then Bianca is also being one too. So it's like okay, but I think they're setting Bianca up to become a heel. I think that, and I kind of glazed on this with the Naomi Jade. I really think as we talk about this trifecta of those three going forward, going towards SummerSlam, I think we're going to see Naomi get in the head of Bianca. I do think that something comes out of the day one match that affects her in this match. I really believe that what we're going to see tonight, because this is being recorded on Saturday, is going to be Bianca up all torn and in tears. Her little battle buddies are up there, blah, blah, blah. And then the Monday after Raw, it's just going to be like, oh, my emotions were all over the place. I just watched my friends like beat the crap out of each other. And, I really do think that initially it'll look like Bianca's going to side with Jade because Jade is definitively the face because, she got done dirty. She got jumped. Um, so I think that, so taking that into effect that Bianca's story is bigger than this triple threat, I think Bianca's going to break away. So I really do think we can eliminate Bianca from the equation. Now, when it comes to Io and Rhea, I think longer term, what's going to happen is I think you let Io go over here at Mania, kind of reward her a little bit. Obviously Rhea slipped on the banana peel. She moved forward. And then I think that you're going to move, I think at Backlash, that is when you'll get a rematch on this match between just the two.
Yep.
Because I think the drama between the other three will, kind of sidetrack Bianca for a little bit
Yes.
and, kind of put her on her own path. And then you'll have the rematch. And then I do think Rhea reclaims her title
Yes.
at Backlash.
Yeah, and that makes sense because Io a WrestleMania moment. And what's good about Io right now, she's a face naturally, but now she's got some sympathy going. The fans sympathize for her because she's getting pushed to the back. And hey, you're the world champion, and you're kind of like third wheel. So she's garnered sympathy for the fans. So I think it's going to fall right into a really good storyline. That's why I have Io going over. The fans are behind her. Rhea will always have another day to come after the title. I don't think if Io drops, Io's not on the same level of Rhea where there's like, oh, there's another day, there's another chance. Like we don't know when Io will hold the belt again, but we do know Rhea will hold the belt again and again and again. So I think what you do is you stick with Io, give her a nice moment, you transition at Backlash, or even if it goes to the following one, then Rhea takes it back, and everybody's happy.
I think Io has an uncanny talent, though, of like working her way back into the picture.
Yeah.
Like I was really impressed with the way she got back into it. So I don't totally count her out, but she seems to be like one of those wrestlers where, they kind of get to the precipice, they get their belt, they have a little run, and then, whoop, they kind of disappear for a little bit, and then they come back up.
Kind
Asuka
of,
was
kind of, kind of like
notorious.
Oscar with that. Bailey's done it recently. So yeah, I think it's fine. But I'm saying, but then you have people like Ripley and Charlotte Flair, and the real top tier ones that Becky Lynch comes back. Boom, she's already like she's going to get the title down the line. Liv
There was
Morgan, we know Liv Morgan's going to get a world title. It's the people like now Bailey and Io. Like yeah, they're going to work their way up, but are they at that level where they could just walk into a title reign multiple times? Maybe they'll do it again, but it won't be a repeat thing. So that's why I'm saying with Rhea, you can keep the title off her because she's going to get it down the line regardless. So
yeah. Yeah, I think it's just the right way to go. So
yep.
I do think that, Io going over here is the right thing to do. Everybody kind of poo-pooed and, just ignored her. And, there's a lot of that this year. There's a
Yeah.
couple of matches where, like, Gunther, like, not really looking at Jay as a serious
Yeah.
contender and stuff like that. There's a lot of overlooking people, which seems to be an underlying theme of what's going on this year for this WrestleMania. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I think it's pretty obvious. Like my money's on Io in this one. I think that Bianca and Rhea just start doing catastrophic stuff to each other, and then Io just takes to the sky and just plunks
Yeah.
down and like, haha, got my title, deuces. So good.
I think with the athleticism involved, we're going to see some like really cool, innovative stuff. I think tonight. I definitely think E is going to come up with a crazy spot. Something. I don't think it's going to be the finisher. It might be mid-match. This might be Io goes for a big move and blunders it, and that allows for her to kind of be outside the ring, out of the picture, and then Rhea and Bianca can do their thing at some point. Maybe that's when you have Naomi come down, maybe try to start some craziness. Those shenanigans happen. By the time that's all done, Io's kind of recovered, and then we take it home and Io retains.
Over under on hair whip welts tonight.
Oh, who's going to get it? Rhea's going to get the belt. I think Rhea's. You think Rhea gets whipped? Or you think Io?
I think Rhea gets whipped, but
Yeah.
like it's going to be pretty hard to top what she did to Liv Morgan in the
Oh
Chamber.
God.
So
Yeah.
you heard it, you saw it, and it was brutal. So like,
I think
yeah,
I felt it.
yeah, I kind of winced on that one.
Yeah, I did
So
too.
like,
Even Christy was like, "Oh damn, that's all. Is that real?" I'm like, "Yeah."
you can't fake that.
You can't pull. I said you can't pull back a hair whip shot. She goes, "Did they have a sound effect?" I'm like, "No."
No,
I said,
that's awesome.
I, the girl's like, "Do you think she, she's like, you think that she's mad about it?" I'm like, "No," because I'm sure she got paid very well for taking a little bit of temporary pain.
That's a cool spot. We'll keep it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. She's using a couple. She's on Becky Lynch once, didn't she?
I think that was the first time that she actually busted it out. Like, wasn't it? It was
Yeah,
like the triple threat with
it
her.
was a stomach shot, I think, right? I think Becky was Irish whip. She came off the ropes. I think she nailed her. Like, hey, but if you're watching and you know what really happened, let us know if we're wrong.
We
And
are
like,
not too proud to say that we are
right,
wrong
wrong.
more than right.
Hey, but
So,
don't forget to like and subscribe too.
damn right.
All
All
right.
right. So, speaking of
Yeah,
liking things, yeah.
yeah. I didn't get to do one the last episode, so I had to get my yeah in today. I did yeet though the last episode.
You did.
I
You even
did.
got the hand gesture in.
Yeah, yeet. There we go. We yeeted twice.
Yep.
All right.
Yeet it all over myself, see?
Yeah. See. Yep.
So, moving on. So, Street Fight, or whatever, New York Brawl, or whatever they're tagging it
Sin
as.
City. I think it's Sin City Street Fight. Yeah.
There it is.
Yep.
All right. So Drew McIntyre, Damien Priest. So let me start off with this. I got to give my flowers to Drew McIntyre this year. That dude has been doing great,
Yep.
great heel work.
Money.
Like the beauty of Drew McIntyre's work, and there's a couple of them that have been doing this year. KO was the other one that was really dropping some great things. I mentioned it in the part one, and I was talking about the Paul Heyman putting together the Truth Sayer faction.
Faction. Yeah.
Oh my God, man! Like to put him and Seth, and they're just like, I just speak the truth, man. I'm just telling you what happened. They both hate Punk. They both hate Roman. Like it's all natural. Like to put those guys together, but like and Damian Priest, props to him. Like I think his launching point really was that celebrity match with Bad Bunny, and like he just strapped a rocket to his butt and like off he went, and good on him. I enjoy watching him in the ring. Do I kind of I don't. My personal opinion is I have him more as a mid tier champion. He's kind of on the same par. Speaking of L.A. Knight, kind of on that echelon of stars. Like, still a star, but probably not world champ. Yes, I know he's held the title, yada, yada, yada. But, like, I don't, but I like what he does. And I think Priest really excels in these stipulation matches where it's like, street fights or whatever the case may be. I think Priest is really good in these, and I think this one is going to be. This is one of those low key, like, could take over match of the weekend type stuffs. But I think two dudes are about to beat the crap out of each other. But my personal opinion, I got McIntyre going over. I think McIntyre needs a big WrestleMania moment where it lasts longer than 30 seconds.
Yes.
And there's no title on the line. He's not going to get cashed in on. And I think that, he can drop, going back to the Truth Sayer stuff, like, oh, yeah,
I was right. Yep.
Yeah, I was right. I told you, Priest, I got you this time. So I think it's time for them. I think that for both of them, a run back, maybe, but like it's so hard coming off a stipulation match because you got to kind of one up yourself. So it's like, do you one up yourself and then you go into another stip match for Backlash? Like, whatever. I'd be interested. I think they will run it back just because there's, you and I looked it up right before we started recording. There's only like 3 weeks flash to bang coming out of this.
Yeah.
So like, between WrestleMania and Backlash, there's a really quick turnaround. So there's not a lot of time to build a story. So you really got to lean on the stories that are already there. That's definitely a match, kind of the same ilk of Rhea and Io, where you can run it back fairly quickly. You can build off the storyline that was in there, and then one more kick at the can for that one. So I think it's a prime candidate. Maybe Priest goes over in the second, the next one, but I think you give McIntyre, and it's something I've noticed with Triple H for his style for rewarding, the grunts, so to speak, like the people that are out there grinding and
Yes.
really doing like a lot of great stuff for the company, where you come out and you're like, man, Jey Uso, prime example, right?
Yeah.
Like nobody had him win in the Rumble, but like when you look back, it's like he deserved it. Like he got it. That dude, like you got to stop and look at his story arc. And again, yes, I know I'm wearing the Yeet shirt, I'm biased, yada yada yada. But like you watch his story arc, what he did is not easy.
Mm-mm.
Like he was behind Roman Reigns. He was a tag team wrestler. He was in a faction. He broke off from the faction, broke away from Roman Reigns, went to an entirely different brand, and reinvented himself and got himself over big.
Yeah.
That guy will always go back to Paris and think them like they got Clash in Paris coming up in like the
Was that
summer.
no, that was Lyon, wasn't it? Lyon, France?
That was Leon.
Lyon, that's when they first started singing Randy's song too. So that all right, talk about crowds real quick and I'll give you my view of the match. So, greatest crowd was probably the Lyon crowd, hands down. Everything else measures to that one. So last night watching SmackDown, I sense that Vegas is a heel town.
Yeah.
So now the only thing is, it's not like maybe Friday night was a lot of people from Vegas, but tonight and tomorrow it's going to be from everywhere. So I don't know if we're going to see that translate to the big shows. And then most people, because it's Easter weekend, or they got to get home. A lot of people probably Friday tonight and tomorrow. I don't know if they're going to be there Monday night. So again, it might be more of a local, crowd for the most part on Monday. So I just wonder, because they were kind of liking the heels last night. Is Drew almost going to be like the baby face in this tonight? Like, is he the one the crowd's going to go behind? I think it's going to be split regardless, because I think there's people like me that are always going to like Drew, and I like Damien Priest, but Drew needs this. I have Drew winning as well. The only problem I have with this match is the stipulation. Unless this is a one and done, but with two guys like this, they should do a one and done. Your stip match should always come like at the end. I mean, maybe if you do two stip matches, they shouldn't be of the violent type. You could have a stip match where, maybe there's no count out, but that doesn't mean you can't be DQ'd. But to go right from the get go and have a street fight, I get it. It grabs attention because it's WrestleMania, but this should have been the culmination. There should have been more stuff before. So that's why unless they talk about this being a one and done, which I think it wouldn't be good. I just don't agree with the stipulation, but I do agree with having these two go at it, because I think that there's a lot of good work here. But I think they also did the street fight stip because that, like you said, that's kind of in Priest's wheelhouse. Because Drew, he can wrestle as well as brawl. I don't know what Priest's actual wrestling, how he can keep up wrestling. Because it's a kind of a mix of like MMA stuff he does, because he does that martial arts. And then the thing about, like you were talking about Priest being a mid-carder, I mean, his wrestling skill is there, but he just doesn't have like that extra charisma, that extra thing that puts him in that top level. And I'm not crapping on Damian Priest, because I think he's great, but I mean, if you're talking about what makes a star, he's just not quite that. And Drew's kind of like on that cusp of that. Like he's like kind of teetering on the edge, because I mean, he does a lot.
Drew was mid card until he went Super Saiyan heel.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
When he went like mega, like ever since like Punk's injury, and he was like, I prayed for this. Like from that moment on, Drew just took it up a whole nother notch. He started getting social media involved. He
Yep.
started going everywhere, and he did fantastic.
Yes.
He did great heel work, and I really think that kicked him up, to your point, that means he was kind of right there on the level. That line between, like, I don't want to really call him one 1A. It's more 1A, 1B than 1-2.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're all stars, right? But there are just some that are way more over than others, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're always going to know a Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins will make anybody look good. You could put him in there with, like, somebody that's never wrestled before, and Seth Rollins is going to make them look like
Yeah.
they've been wrestling their whole life. Like, guys like that are out there. CM Punks are out there. But you also got those guys that are kind of a hair down below that, which is like the Damien Priest, right? Like, Damien Priest is at that level where it's like, okay, like when he had the Judgment Day drama going on and stuff like that, yeah, that bumped him up a little more. So, like, your storyline matters, and for Priest it really matters. So one of the biggest challenges for Priest after he's done with Drew McIntyre is, where do you go from there?
Yeah. What's next?
And this goes back, I know our whole podcast is based on the premise of writing these long-term storylines. Some are easier than others, and it's important for everybody to understand that, like, sometimes you just end the feud. Sometimes that feud's going to drop off. Sometimes the next opponent is clear, sometimes it's not. But I also think that, like, it's also important to know that right after WrestleMania, in that time frame, there's that switch that gets flipped, and then you kind of slow roll into the new season, and, like, you're going to start seeing that younger talent come up. You're going to start seeing the Carmelo Hayes getting a little
Yep.
more love and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. So now maybe you get a feud going on with some of the younger people, just to bump them up and elevate them and get them, not necessarily slow roll them, but give them a little more juice, right? Like a nudge. You got a nudge, a bump, and a push, right? You're gonna give them a nudge. So, but yeah, I think Drew goes over. I think it's just well deserved, and I think he needs to go over for more than like 15 seconds, and then have his actual WrestleMania moment. Because even I remember back even in the COVID era, when it was all TV screens and all that
Yeah.
other crap in there, he was doing him and Seth were really doing some great work. So, like, I give the guy his due,
Yeah.
man. Like, give him his moment. You know, we all were, what was it, Clash at the Castle? We all thought he was going to go over
Yeah.
Roman,
Yeah. We thought that was
and
it. That was it.
then somebody hit the lather, rinse, repeat button for Roman, and interference came, and blah blah blah. So, like, you know, I think McIntyre's due. I'd like let McIntyre go over. This is an emotional pick for me, but I do think you're going to do McIntyre, and then I think McIntyre starts getting involved with some of the top tier talent for a championship. I wouldn't be surprised to see, and it would be funny as hell because he was all happy when he got traded to SmackDown. I
Oh,
think
they
it would
sent
be
him right back to Raw. Yeah, I would. I'd send his ass right back to Raw.
I think it would be great.
Oh, you
Send him
didn't like Raw that much? Hey, go back, give it a second try. You'll be all right.
draft him right back to Raw when the draft happens. I
Yeah,
think it would be phenomenal.
number 1, 2, not like like first pick, like Drew McIntyre to Raw.
Yep, I would so move him out, and we'll talk a little more about the draft later.
And
Because
then later you find that Nick Aldis just couldn't stand being around Drew McIntyre and like maybe gave a favor or paid Adam Pearce, like, please take this guy, get him out of my hair.
well, let's be real. If he's moving anybody, he's moving Chelsea Green. She's a thorn in his side.
Oh,
You know,
she's great though.
dude, I have never, like, even before the mid card titles came out. And yes, folks, this happens again. If I had a warning button, there would be a little flashing light in the corner. This is a Matt and Sean, like,
We took a right turn. We're gonna go straight. Then we're gonna take a left and get right back on track. Eventually, we'll be all right.
So on Chelsea Green, she is probably the most talented individual I have ever seen that you could give 15 seconds of airtime to, and
Yes.
she turns it into gold. And what she is doing, and I'm not going to rehash my tirade about not having the U.S. title and the Intercontinental title for the women's being on WrestleMania or being defended at all this weekend. But even in her small interactions, like the whole. So I guess I heard that the countout was a botch.
Yeah, yeah. I think because if you go back and you look at the ref, which ref was it? It was the Asian dude. I forget his name. Look, I watch a lot of it, but I'm not at the point where I recognize every wrestler's name. I'm not that sick. Some of you
The
fans are.
refs.
Yeah, some of you fans that know all the rest by the name, good on you. But I have a lot of other stuff going on in my life too. But anyway, yeah,
Shut up.
I was watching it was Dutch Mantel's podcast. And for what he said, it looks like the ref didn't even count. Like he did 1, 2, and all of a sudden it was 10. And so I think there was a botch there somewhere.
So
Or was it a meant to be botch? Just for but
I don't know, but the whole legal advice and all this and that, it was well played. But the
yeah,
point is, like kayfabe wise, if Nick Aldis is going to move anybody, it's going to be Chelsea Green. So like, wash my hands, give me Lyra Valkyria. That'll
yeah,
make my life so much easier.
yeah,
So, but to that end, I think we're both taking Drew on this one. I think
absolutely.
not. Are you with me on Backlash? They run it back one more time.
I'd be more enthusiastic about it if this was not a gimmick match, but I understand why they're doing the gimmick match. One, it's WrestleMania, and two, it's to make a better match between Priest and Drew. I just thought they rushed the gimmick match. So yeah, maybe you do it one more time. I guess you'd go steel cage or
Maybe,
last man standing. Last man standing.
maybe, or my bad. One thing that we do got to keep in mind, though, Backlash isn't one of the big ones, right? It's not a two-night event, so you're not
No,
going to run everything back.
no, you gotta get
There
five
is a good
matches tops.
Yep. So there is a good
Yep.
chance that this doesn't roll back. Um, yeah. So I let's just say we're both taking Drew McIntyre, and we'll see what happens. There's a
Yeah.
possibility you could run it back. I wouldn't be heartbroken. I'm one of those matches. I'm 100% convinced though is Rhea Ripley and Io Sky
Yes.
for
Yeah.
sure.
I think you could do Drew and Priest one more time because I think you could do something tonight. I mean Sunday night that can prolong it for one more. I'm just saying my only beef was that they went so quick with the stipulation match. So,
I
but
think this
maybe
is the only stip they have in WrestleMania this year, though.
yeah, I think so. There's like
So
we have no special like guest referees. There's no not a lot of silliness
yeah,
yet.
we'll get
We'll
to it.
get to Travis Scott in a little bit.
We know he's on hand.
And
All
if I'm
right.
going forward, I don't like that dude.
Uh, all right, so moving on. So now we go for the battle for the tag team belts in the women's division. We got Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez with Bailey and Lyra Valkyria. You can start because if I get going, I'm just gonna roll.
All right. I think you're gonna have the champs retain. There was a part of me I was thinking about giving them to Bailey and Lyra, and then work something in where Bailey still has to fight Lyra for the IC title. But I picked Liv and Rodriguez because it's also going to tie into the Fatal Four Way later on in the show. So Liv and Rod retain. It's going to be a pretty much straight up match. It'll be entertaining. There'll be fun stuff. But at the end of the day, I think I'm gonna have Liv and Rodriguez retain, and something's going to happen. I would have something happen to create friction on the Bailey Lyra stuff, so we can channel them together for one more match for the Intercontinental title. So that's what I would do. I'd Liv and Rod go clean, but there's some miscommunication I would have with Bailey and Lyra. They end up losing the match because of that, and now there's like this little mini feud you can have. I still think you can keep Bailey a face because Bailey is a face, shows a lot of heel stuff. Like she still rags on Michael Cole, still gives the refs a lot of verbal abuse. So
I just think that's
she's
part of
great.
her character.
I think so
And
too, and that's what makes her great. So I think you can have her do another match with Lyra and possibly win the IC title. And I don't think it turns Bailey heel at all. I think you keep Bailey as what she is, and I think you keep Lyra as what she is. And Bailey just got the better of it. And I think after that, they do a respect thing, just, hey, they had a little fallout. They had the match. Everything's good. Move on to different things. But, eh. But I think Liv Morgan's going to be hilarious tonight because she just plays so good at being this obnoxious, like bratty, like I'll take your man, like kind of like skanky hoe. Can we say a little bit? She puts a little bit of that.
Jersey. It's
Yeah,
Jersey in
Jersey's.
her.
Yeah, Jersey skanky hoe. Nothing against people from Jersey.
Jersey Shore. We only know reality TV.
Is
Just
she
saying.
is she the blonde Snooki?
I don't know.
No, I hope not.
I
Good
don't even
Lord.
know. Like,
Put a,
let me
put
show my
a,
age. I don't even know that reference outside of the South Park reference. So.
Snooki from Jersey Shore. She actually wrestled for WWE once. I think at WrestleMania or something. Yeah, but enough of Snooki.
All right. So, all right. Here's where I go on my tirade for a couple of reasons. There is a lot of talent in the women's division. Okay. Is it top tier talent? No, this goes back to our earlier conversation when we were talking about Damien Priest, right? Like, there's your epic super megastars like the Baileys, the Charlotte Flairs, the
Yep.
Four Horsewomen, all that.
Yep.
Um, but there also is some exhaustion with those, top
Yeah.
tiers in the sense of. So what I will say is Lyra Valkyria, Chelsea Green, honestly, are great wrestlers,
Yes.
and they should have the IC in the United States titles. I have a major, and like I said, I went off on this on the last one. I have a major beef with Lyra being in this match. Not because of Lyra as a wrestler, but why the F do you have your Intercontinental Champion in a tag team match? Why did you make that decision? It is dumb.
It is.
Because there is no reason, despite her talent, there is zero reason why you couldn't have found somebody else better to pair with Bayley that doesn't currently hold the title to allow that title holder to move forward. Now, I am willing to give WWE some grace on this because those titles are fairly new. They were introduced this year. So just like we talk about the reset switch, the new season, slow rolling what they do, okay, fine. But I better see some rapid upgrades in the types of matches that IC and US title get, right? Because if you just have it as a placeholder, and no, they need to be the same equivalent of what the men's are,
Right.
which are working title championships for each brand that lets people go. So I'm off my soapbox on that. Going back to this match, I agree with you. I think day 2 is obviously very Judgment Day heavy, like very involved in the Judgment Day storyline. I think having Liv and Raquel hold on to the titles is going to feed into our next match that we're going to talk about.
Absolutely.
And I think that is what makes sense. Bayley can get anybody over. Bayley, it doesn't matter. Bayley can be with whomever. So, let Bayley do Bayley things. And Lyra needs to go out. And now, if you're going to call up talent, you got Roxanne Perez out there who's, kind of lingering around. She did great in the chamber.
Yep.
She did good in the Rumble, too, I
Yep.
believe.
Jordan
But,
Grace.
yep, Jordan Grace is going to be coming around. So there's a lot of talent floating
Yes.
around out there that can really give those mid-card championships a good solid match. And let's write the stories for them. Let's do some long-term booking. I would love to see Lyra and Jordan Grace. I want to see it. I would like to see Roxanne Perez be separated. I don't want to see young NXT call-ups going up against young NXT call-ups. I want to see somebody a little more established, like a Chelsea Green, going up against that younger talent and basically pulling them up.
Yep.
Right? And then, making those mid-card, titles worth something.
Yes.
This is the same problem they had with the tag titles in the women's division for the longest time. It was like it was like a tag team match just to get the titles. It was just like, oh, hi, you're the new team? Cool. Slap.
Well,
All right, here's the
then
belts.
then
And
that
nobody
title
had anything worth a shit.
Yeah, well, then that title ended up kind of being a curse for a while. Because didn't they have like 3 or 4 teams in a row when they won the title, someone got hurt and they had to vacate it? So that's kind of a if you want to believe that mumbo jumbo that it's cursed title. So I don't think it is now, but I'm just bad luck happened. But they but yeah, it's all about elevating the title because like for God forbid, like we don't ever have a 24/7 title again. Like that's a scrub title. It means nothing. Like I don't want those IC and U.S. women's titles turn to like scrub titles where like you almost forget they have them.
No, and that's the thing, and that's another valid reason why you keep the straps on. Look, Liv Morgan is top tier championship material.
Yep.
She's come an amazingly long way. Like
Yes.
she is really come a long way.
Oh yeah.
Like there was times earlier in her runs where she was going for the title where I was kind of like,
Yeah. Not yet.
you can
Not
kind of
yet.
see it. And then she kicked it into another gear and she's looked phenomenal.
Yeah.
And like, I legitimately think she's one of the best wrestlers they have in the
Yep.
female division right now. So I 100% think she's worth it. So keep the straps on them. Don't do this constant turnover and title changes. You know, I haven't really counted up what we've done for title changes yet. I know I had one with Jay going over Gunther, you know, but like you're not going to flip every title at
No.
WrestleMania.
No.
So, and we'll get to that later. But yeah, I think Liv and Raquel retain, or Liv and Raquel retain, and then you know, long term, like I said, I think this whole match, this is a one-off. I think Bayley goes on to other stuff. Lyra does her IC stuff, and I think Judgment Day is about to have a interesting program. You know, if I'm really looking at my crystal ball.
You don't think that having a after this WrestleMania having a Lyra Bailey program with possibly a title change? Don't you think that'd be a good way to elevate that title, especially if you have somebody like Bailey who is a world champion? I don't think it's a step down for Bailey. I think it's a way for her to take that title and elevate it. So I would think that'd be a good challenge for Bailey. That's what I would think, especially as a storyteller, right? To write the story. I think
She needs to take it off of Chelsea then, not Lyra. Like, I it's an interesting conundrum, but like what the finals for that title was Lyra and Michin.
yeah,
So there was obviously there was a deliberate thought process that went
right,
on that was I want this to go on one of my younger wrestlers, right?
yes,
Like not that Michin is super young, but like she's been around a minute. But my point is that something different, right? Like that there was a deliberate thought process in that. And I know you and I said it before Chelsea won it. It was just for her, it was the perfect prop.
yep.
It was the perfect
Well, it's
freaking
hilarious.
prop.
She's from Canada, and now she wears all this American gear. So now she's an ambassador for the U.S. as a Canadian, being the U.S. title holder. So much so that she had to get her own security detailed. I still don't like the name Hervis. I just,
I think it's great. I think it's just everything she does
it
is
just, it
funny.
sounds like something like a bad rash or a skin condition or something.
When they first said it, I was like, do they
Hey,
got
hey,
an itch they can't fix?
I know, Doc. I think I got Hervis. Can you take a look at it?
So,
But anyway,
but
but they're still funny. It's a good gimmick. She's great at it, and Piper Niven's been awesome as well. Just
she's so
playing that some,
talented.
yeah, she is. And but anyway, enough about that. But we're still on Liv and Rod. But real quick about Liv, I think she's underrated at the fact that I don't think people give her enough credit for how tough she is. Like she's tough. She does like crazy stuff. I mean, I think the hair whip at the elimination chamber, I think that kind of got over. But if you even look past that, I mean, she's a tough girl. I mean, got her eye busted open, kept going like a trooper, didn't complain about it. Even waited to get stitched up long enough so she could do a promo backstage before she went and got stitched up or glued up. So she's a tough girl, and I enjoy watching her. I think she plays a great character. Her character's phenomenal lately. She's like so annoying, especially with her significant other, your
So,
favorite.
yep. All right.
That kind of
So,
segues us, doesn't it?
no, it does not,
Oh,
because we have something in between. But that's okay, because we didn't know,
we
and
did
we still don't know,
know.
and that is Randy Orton versus. Yep.
Boom,
You know,
boom,
this is
boom.
obviously the slot that was supposed to be filled by KO.
Yeah,
KO's hurt. wishing him the best and having a
Yes.
fast recovery. I know he had his surgery, so hopefully
He was at the
that's
Hall
okay
of Fame last night, so he was at the Hall of Fame. That's good. At
that's
least he's
awesome.
able to get out, so it's good to see him. But yeah, best wishes
So,
to KO. We need you back, buddy.
this one's tough to predict. I don't, from a storyline perspective, I don't think there's any storyline here. This is a one-off, 100%. And whoever it is, maybe it leads into something longer term. But like for me personally, I can't predict anything with this right now because I don't know who it is. I can't look at the angles. Credit to WWE, they're keeping it really quiet, whatever their game plan
Yeah.
is. So, and we'll go a whole nother night. Of course, I'll say that, and then next thing on X, somebody will post like 50 comments about it. Like, oh look, Randy's going up against such and such. But anyways, yeah. So we're gonna kind of gloss over this one real quick. The rumors out there are Rusev, obviously, because he just got signed. So I don't know if there's recency bias there or if it's a legitimate thought. Obviously, I haven't been watching Rusev's work up until this point since he left WWE. So I can't tell you if it's a good idea or a bad idea. Aleister Black said no. I'm pretty positive he's a no. WWE's been slow rolling his return, kind of teasing it. They finally dropped a date on it, which I think is next Friday. So no Aleister Black. So I don't know who it's going to be because this might be our swerve. We don't know. They might come out and they'll just go, "Hey, look, it's this will
Please don't
be
let it be Goldberg. Please don't let it be Goldberg. Please don't let it be Goldberg. Yeah. Whew.
That's right. Exercise those demons."
Oh, anxiety, PTSD. No, no,
Yeah.
please. But honestly, God, don't let it be. I mean, people even thinking it might be Lesnar for a one-off, and no, I don't know.
I don't know.
It'd pop the roof off, but
That would intrigue me. I'm
well,
not gonna lie to you.
yeah,
Like Lesnar Orton would intrigue me.
it would
I'm
intrigue
not
me.
going to.
But then, like, I get these bad thoughts in my head, like, oh no, they're bringing Lesnar back. He's gonna like whoever wins whatever world title he's going at, you can kiss that goodbye because they're just gonna jump. They'll just
No.
jump the. But I don't think Triple H will do that anymore. I think that era is done. That's a Vince thing.
There's been very deliberate booking in a lot
And
of
I don't
that they
think
do.
Brock will be there either because he's still in that legal mess with Vince and the woman and John Laurinaitis. Yeah, that whole crappy case, pun intended.
Oh yeah, there was a. Yep.
Yep. There was a poo-poo incident. Yes. Oh. Anyway, enough about the man
Right.
who we're not supposed to talk about, whose name shall not be mentioned.
So let's
Oh,
move
what about?
on.
Well, real quick though about Randy, some people also think it's Solo Solo. Whew, I need another drink. Solo. That doesn't excite me. I wouldn't put Solo. It doesn't excite me because everybody's been beating Solo lately, and Solo
That's
just
the
have.
point.
Yeah. So.
That's the point.
Yeah, but that's like.
Like
Do you want to give Randy a layup at WrestleMania? Kind of.
he's going to get a layup regardless.
Right.
It doesn't matter because there's no burn on this one. It's just all you're going to do is get the cheap pop for whoever they choose to like go out against him. That's it. Like there's just going to be like the pop, like oh my god, it's such and such, and they're going to come out and they're going to call it. And if it's Solo, it's Solo.
What
Like
about with Sami Zayn? I have not heard anything about Sami Zayn this weekend. Is he hurt? And they're not letting us know?
I just don't think he had a program. So yes, you can bring Sammy in. Sammy would be okay. Sammy is one of those guys that can work with everybody, but I don't know. I wish they would find like a kind of heavy-ish heel, even if it's somebody they're just bringing back or whatever. Somebody where when Randy RKO's him like 50 times,
Yeah.
It makes you feel really good about yourself.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping
So
for.
you're saying it might be Randy and Solo, and he just beats the hell out of Solo, and definitely.
So we glossed on this with the Fatu thing. So this kind of ties into it, right? So I really do think the next step for Bloodline Light, yes, that's my term for him because they haven't given me a faction name for him, so that's what I'm going to call him from this point on. Bloodline Light is the rift between Jacob Fatu and Solo. And I think that the big rift there is Solo's taking L's. Solo hasn't won shit. And Jacob's going to look at him and be like, why the F am I following you? I had your back and you went out and you crapped yourself against Roman Reigns. Where's your Ula follow? Oh, wait, that's right. He beat you for it. So I think that that's the longer term story. I think they're going to be beating on each other for like, a few months. And then Fatu can break free and do his greatness that is Jacob Fatu. So you could have Solo take an L to Randy. There's history there. There's, I know I reminded you of this today. Like, Randy got hurt by the bloodline
He
originally.
sure did.
Before all this KO crap. So when he was out for that extended period of time, he got hurt by the bloodline. So that matters. Not the same bloodline anymore, but it still matters. And Solo was part of that. So, yeah. But yeah, let's just.
Yeah,
I
don't want to spend too much time on it. Yeah, because we just don't know. So
yeah, let's not make a prediction on this one. It just too many unknowns here. There's not enough data to even. It's a one-off.
yeah.
All right.
If I had the pencil, I just have his father Bob come out and Randy RKO his dad a couple of times. There's your comedy signal. I'm joking. Let's move on.
He could RKO Travis Scott.
Dude, that they could end the show right there.
Hey, they threw iShow Speed into the Mania or to the Rumble.
Yeah.
Travis, feel like Travis, you like wrestling? Go out and wrestle Randy Orton.
He's a nice fellow. He'll take care of you.
Randy's got you. It'll be okay.
Randy can kick his Travis Scott head all the way out of the other end of the dome for all I care.
I know.
All right.
All right, so we're going to move on to Liv Morgan's Boo. So the four-way match for the IC title, it is Dominic Mysterio, Penta, Finn Balor, and Braun Breaker. So I'm going to kick this one off because, and I'll let you kind of expand on this one. So here's the deal. I think there's an argument to be made that either one of the Judgment Day.
Yes.
Guys wins this. And there's an argument for both. So I do think Finn Balor is the more refined wrestler of the two. Dominic's come a long way. He is getting better. I think that the more I think about it, I think it's Finn Balor that gets it, and here's why. Because you still keep that connection between Liv and Dom. That dynamic is working. So if Finn's on the outs, Finn can be on the outs with the belt. And it leads to longer term storytelling too, because the whole thing that Finn accused Priest of after Priest was chasing titles and stuff is going to be the same thing that Balor does, right? And, that internal rift, and I will say this, Balor's going to pin Dominic. So
that's the only way you can do it is one of them to pin the other.
Yep. And even if it reverses, it doesn't matter. No matter what, the outcome's the same. It comes down to the two Judgment Day dudes. So for Braun Breaker, I think Braun Breaker is enough of a force right now that we can kind of slide him into championship level stuff.
Yes,
this
100%.
becomes and he's got history from IC time with Jey Uso, which ties back to why you put Jey Uso over. Then you have a program with Braun Breaker where those two are going at it, and they already have a history to build on from the time with the IC. Jey Uso won the IC from Braun Breaker.
Yes, he did.
Braun Breaker came back and snapped him in half and took it back, but that happened. So there's history there. There's good storytelling. You can milk that for a couple of months, right? And then, but you don't have Breaker go over. You got to get creative, slip on a banana peel, stuff like that. Then you start getting other folks involved, and then you finally take the title off of Jey. Let Jey have a nice little run. I don't need him to have the belt just to polish it and, take photos with it. I need him to have the belt for like a month or two. Nothing major, just a month or two. So I think you free up Braun Breaker for that. Right, Braun Breaker needs to be chasing a title. He should be on Raw, and he should be chasing the World Heavyweight Championship.
Absolutely. And
for Penta is just amazing and wonderful and does not need a title.
We
Period.
love
End of
Penta.
story. Like,
Yeah.
everybody can sit there and watch him, Ray Phoenix, whoever. Like, those guys can just wrestle, and you'll just be like, I love all of you. Just
Yes.
keep doing what you're doing. I don't care if you got a title. Just keep doing what you're doing, right? Unless there's a real reason to put extra stakes on it, they don't need the title. I think the IC title as a tool in a rift inside the Judgment Day
Yeah.
is a bigger deal.
Absolutely.
And I really do. And this ties back to the previous match we were talking about. Like, if Liv and Raquel maintain and they bring more gold back, set Carlito aside. Carlito's their R-Truth. It doesn't matter,
Yeah.
right? Like, he's just there to get snapped in half by Braun Breaker, which I thought Braun Breaker killed him, but apparently not.
No.
And he got smart and he ran away the following week. But
well, at least he learned. A lot of them don't.
he was standing there. I was like, oh, we're going to get part 2. And then he was like, deuces. I was
Yeah.
like, good for you.
Yeah.
Because I would have done the same thing.
Because Carlito went back about, what, 8 feet? It was like crazy, like how far Carlito sold it.
Flew.
Yeah,
it
he
was
did.
like Superman. It was like a comic book thing. He flew.
Yes.
Carlito folded in half like a folding table. And I'm a Bills fan, so I know about folding tables.
That's right.
But, like, it was crazy. It was one of the most ugliest hits I've ever seen. And even in slow motion, I was like, that's so horrible, but it's so cool. It's so good. So set Carlito aside is what I'm getting at, right? So you got the 2 females with belts. You now have Finn with a belt. Who's the odd man out? Dom. What do? Liv is always there being, we'll call it supportive. But like, Dom, you got this. You need to go out and get yourself some gold. All that crap. But it's the whole emasculating thing for him. So I really do think that there's money to be made with Finn Balor having the belt, the ladies having the belt, and then the odd man out is honestly Dominic. Again, Carlito doesn't count.
No.
Him and Carlito.
He's a mascot.
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Yeah.
Because you could go the angle where they start chasing whoever wins out of New Day and War Raiders.
But it's not believable though with Carlito, because Carlito hasn't done anything but get beat up and eat apples and make funny comments. So
he doesn't even eat his apples. R-Truth eats them for him.
I know that's nice.
I love R-Truth. R-Truth makes it. Can R-Truth just host WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Why aren't we
That'd
doing
be awesome. That would be awesome. I was just glad that it was very nice. I've been telling Sean for the last couple of weeks, I think it'd be hilarious if we could get R-Truth and Carlito to do something together. And for about 23 seconds last night on SmackDown, we got a nice little bit with him. So I want more of that. Not a lot, but little things like that. 30 seconds, 45 seconds, something they run each other back in the hallways in the background, and there's some weird interchange because neither one of them seem to know which ends up half the time. So, boy, send those 2 out in the woods with a compass and see where they end up. But,
just eating Cody shrimp, man. Just eating
Cody shrimp. That's right. So we talk. So, I know you said there's also an opportunity for Dom, so if you don't mind, you talked about Finn, and I'm kind of in agreement with that. I'll talk about Dom winning, why I think Dom could make sense winning. So for the last couple of months, even before J.D. McDonough got hurt, they were kind of treating Dom as the outsider, especially Finn. Finn's always been the worst, but J.D. will kind of tag along for a while, and I can't wait to see when J.D. comes back what they do with him. I think that's going to be exciting, but he's not there right now. So I think Dom goes over by somehow flukily pinning Finn, and Dom wins the titles, and now Finn's the outside guy looking out. Now remember, Dominic's always been saying we need to add somebody to the Judgment Day. We need another person. Finn's always poo-pooed on that, we don't need anybody else. Well, if Dom's got a title, and the 2 girls got a title, and there's Finn's like, well, I can go after the tag titles. He's going to have to bring someone into the Judgment Day. Something he didn't want to do in the first place, but he's going to do it because it benefits him. Not the Judgment Day, it just benefits him. Which just adds to, Finn being a jerk. And he can still crap on Dom for whatever. The only thing I'm afraid of is, I don't want it to turn Dom face. Dom will turn face at some point, But for me, the only way you turn Dom face is if it's for a reconciliation angle with his dad when his dad's on the way out. That's the only way you can turn Dom face, and the only way it'll work. And I think Dom will just be over huge by that point, because Dom is my most improved guy this year. If I was to give a slammy for most improved guy, it's Dom hands down. His work rate in the ring has gotten better. His mic skill, he plays a great heel. Oh my gosh, like he definitely got an A when he went to school and studied heel tactics 101. Just the way he's just great at it. And
I mean, in
and
fairness, the
people out
crowd
there,
does a lot for him too.
yeah, oh yeah, by hating on. But 2 years ago, you and I were like crapping all over Dom. We hated Dom. Dom sucks. He needs to go down. He can't do anything. You know, he's just there because nepotism, because Daddy Ray is there. But I
I
think
said all these things.
yes, and I agree with a lot of it. I said some things too, and now he's just, man, he has gotten himself into that character. He lives it. He breathes it. He's doing good. So I think for me, I'd like to see Dom win it, but it's just you have to tread the line to keep Dom a heel. Unless that's the only thing that can win Finn's favor finally in some weird way, was stepping up and beating Finn. But I just think I think you could have a lot of fun with Dom winning, because if Finn wins, all he's going to keep doing is just treating Dom like crap, and then Dom's like, "Well, let me get a partner," and he's like, "No, you got Khalid. No, I want somebody else. No, nobody else can come in the Judgment Day." So you can play it both ways. Both ways, I still think's worked. I just think it'd be fun to see what they do with Dom, and what I would do with him too. I just think you give him the belt, and I think he can kind of start turning the tables on Finn. Start talking crap to Finn, like, yeah, you treat me like crap. I did all this stuff for you. You never took home the title. He goes, I did this for myself in the Judgment Day. Like, what about you? Type of thing, and go on from there.
Yeah,
So, your thoughts?
I could see it. I don't. I could see it, man. I just don't see. I have a hard time seeing the title on him. Yes, we kind of saw a preview of this when he took like the North American title from NXT,
Yeah,
and he had that for a little bit, and it was
yeah,
I don't know. Like, to your point, he's so over as a heel. Like, he is so heel
yeah,
that, like, I don't think he needs a belt to be a heel. I really think that this is more about getting Finn out of the picture, right? Like, Finn's just kind of, I don't know. Their whole dynamic right now is really kind of messed up,
yeah,
and like I'm not vibing. So like back when the original Judgment Day started, and then they turned on Edge, but neither here nor there. But like there was a dynamic there that made sense, and then even when Rhea and Damien Priest were there, there was like this, social club, buddy buddy, we're all friends,
yeah,
they're all singing the Lego movie song, this is awesome, all that crap.
yeah,
And like after Rhea and then Damian Priest left, it kind of maintained itself, and then it went to now the dynamics all dorked up, and I don't know if JD McDonough was the glue that held it all together. I'm not saying that, but like the dynamics dorked up, and like now they're not as compelling a story.
no,
Like I don't have the interest that I did before, so I just don't. I think that I'm sticking with my pick. I'm going to take Finn on this one, just because I think there's more meat on the. I think there's a lot more meat on the bone, and like I can just see Liv doing Liv things and be like, "Go get him, killer!"
yeah, yeah,
After Finn like breaks out, and then him and Finn have a great match, like later on down the road. So I think that by giving Finn the title, that allows Finn to break out, kind of go solo, and then you can give him better competitions. So I'm taking Finn. I'm guessing you're taking.
Well, if I can read directly from my notes that I wrote, I put probably Finn. But we could make an argument for Dom here. But I would have Finn win just so he could keep treating Dom like shit. But then, like, as we're just talking, so you kind of led it with everything I was thinking, but so I just want an opportunity to play, hey, the Dom side. Like, what would we do if we have Dom win? So I do think Finn's going to go over. I think it would be intriguing, though, to see what they could do if they had Dom win it.
I I mean, for a WrestleMania moment, you might have him go over and just have the whole crowd go, "Ugh,
Oh, yeah.
really?" Actually, though,
But
it'll backfire.
here's the problem, though, because I know we haven't got to it yet, but if you have Dom win, which will piss the fans off, and Cena go over, is it too much negativity at the end of WrestleMania? But you know what? Sometimes the fans you don't get everything we want. You know, sometimes like WrestleMania 39 when Cody lost, Cody Roman won. This guy and I were on a ranting bitch fest,
2 hours after.
angry, exhausted because it was like what 1 a.m. Just outside fuming. They screwed it up. They screwed the fans. Well, yeah, they did. Good, because then we wouldn't have gotten last year without the previous year. So in the long run, we kind of came to our senses and realized that they did the right thing by Cody not winning at 39. It took us about 6-8 months for us to finally come to terms with that. Don't worry, we moved on with everything else in our lives. We were okay. We're not that awful, but so I don't know. So
They saved themselves.
yeah, I don't want to give away the main event, but so either way, it's going to be a Judgment Day, dude. I think you can do a lot with either way, but Finn is the more logical choice.
Yeah, I think Finn makes a lot more sense, and Finn hasn't had a title run in a while.
But he's got to be careful too with how bad he treats Dom if he wins the title by beating Dom, because again, we don't want to turn Dom face. So even if Dom wins the title, they got to be careful not to turn him face.
That I was just about to say that. Right?
And then even with Finn winning, you got to be careful about how he treats Dom, not to turn Dom face. Because let me tell you, they may not be trying to turn him face, but this whole Bianca Belair heel turn, it started with the fans getting tired of her stuff. I'm sure she's changed some things to get the fans that way, but fans are fickle. We get tired of stuff. We go from loving somebody, and then after like a year and a half, hey, the warranty's expired, the car's not shiny. I don't like this so much anymore. So we're fickle group. So
yeah, I agree. So all right, so you're taking Finn then.
Ultimately Finn, but I can still see a Dom. That's why I put like either one. But it would be interesting to see what they do with both. But let's not beat that horse to death because we're just over an hour.
Too late. Yep. So moving on.
Yep.
The match I'm really looking forward to, honestly.
Yeah.
Logan Paul and AJ Styles.
So if this doesn't steal the Sunday night, this might steal the whole weekend. This might be the match of the weekend. Could be.
I'm hoping, I'm being very cautiously optimistic because, on one hand, I'm like, this match is going to be so cool. And on the flip side, I'm like, my expectations are pretty high. I was like, I hope I don't disappoint myself just by setting the bar so high that I'm like, oh, crap. Where it's not necessarily bad, but it's, it's like, I think this is going to be great. And it turns out to be good.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying. It has the potential, but there's some other stuff too that has a like you said, Priest versus Drew could be the sleeper match. That could be a stealer. And there's a couple things we talked about on Saturday night that could steal it. But this one, I don't know. This one just kind of has that this is one that this will be the water cooler match that they'll talk about man, the 2 world title matches are great, but man, AJ and Logan, because Logan is just going to do something totally nuts. In there.
Get your selfie sticks ready.
Yep, get your selfie sticks ready, but also have the doctors on hand because Logan, I think, is just going to throw caution to the wind. He's going to do something spectacular. And AJ, we just have to realize with AJ, he's not the AJ of 10 years ago. Here's a guy who's in his late 40s, probably on one of his last runs. Still looks phenomenal condition, no pun intended. But I mean, for a late 40s guy, he looks good, but he is in his late 40s, so he's not going to do stuff he used to do in TNA and all the other Ring of Honor.
He's also had a couple of injuries recently, so I'm sure he's cleared. I'm sure he's good to go. I'm sure he's doing his due diligence, but you also got to keep that in the back of your mind, you're not going to put him in as many precarious positions as that. I actually saw today, during one of the interviews during media days at WrestleMania, he basically said he wants to do one more match at TNA. I think he said so. Interesting, but anyways.
What are you talking about? One more match after WrestleMania, and that's it, or just
no.
Oh, just in general.
In general, Like,
Well,
before he retires, he wants to do one more in TNA.
well, that can easily be done now because they have that working agreement with TNA/Impact or whatever they are now. So
They'll get there.
they'll get there.
I mean, he's still doing great work, anyways.
Yep.
And like,
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I say he's doing great work, I think Logan Paul goes over here.
I do too.
The only ask I have of this one is I need Logan Paul to become more significant. Logan Paul has come out. He has said, I am a full timer. He is blah, blah, blah. I need more out of him so I can put him in better positions.
Yes. I think this is the kickoff for that. More frequent run. I think this is the launch for a regular. Because, I mean, he has been on TV about every week, just hasn't been in the ring. But I think now this is going to be the launch pad for him to stop being more active ring-wise. And I think the ceiling's unlimited for this guy. His whole character, the fact that he brings so many people into WWE through being a social media star. So it's almost like you got your built-in celebrity right here that wrestles full-time. So that's kind of a nice thing. I think they'll work well together. AJ's not a selfish guy. I think Logan is selfless enough where he's going to let AJ kind of dictate what it is, and Logan will do his stuff. But at the end of it, I think Logan wins, probably with the Titanic fist or whatever he calls it. Or what's his finisher move? I forget the name of it. That thing is insane. It's a driver. It's some type of driver.
It's like the Paul driver or something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
They said it the other day, and I was like, "Oh, that's clever." So good for that. Good for it. I just think Paul goes over. I think this is going to be a great match. There's not a lot to expand on it. The only thing I want to come out of this, look, AJ's in that point in his career where you're just going to stick him in feuds. There's no long-term storyline here. You're just going to, he's like one of those Lego pieces where you just find it where it fits.
Well, this is kind of the throwback how WrestleMania used to be, where sometimes they would just put not everything has to have a story behind it. Like they used to book matches for WrestleManias that like dream matches. Like, oh, that'll look really good. We don't even have to write a story for this. Just two talented guys. Let's put them together. We know it's funny, and I think that's what you got here. There's like really no hatred or animosity. There's nothing like crazy going on. It's just two guys ready to fight. Logan's a pompous, entitled jerk, and AJ's the grizzly old veteran that wants to shut him up. That's about it. So I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
Maybe you see one rematch of this after, but I don't think it's a long-term feud.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't even want to give a Backlash prediction on this one either. I don't think Backlash needs this match.
No, I think it's after. If they do a rematch, it's like a couple months down the road. Maybe even SummerSlam they can do it that far out, or maybe they could do it at the Spring Saudi show or something like that. Something like that. Sure. Yeah. All right.
All right, Matt, take a swig because now it's time. We're going to get into it, and it's going to go.
Yeah. Oh, your main event.
Your main event of main events. Cody Rhodes and John, I Can't Wrestle Cena.
Yes.
Look. So
paler than Sting at Starrcade '97.
That was a
great line. Yes. Thank you, Conrad Thompson.
There was so much goodness in that promo yesterday from both of them.
Yes.
I was admiring some of the stuff that Cena put down too. So there's a lot involved in this, especially from storyline perspective. So I mentioned yesterday or in the previous episode that one of the gotchas that got me was the heel turn of Cena, because I honestly didn't think they were going to turn Cena heel on his farewell tour and lose months of Make-A-Wish and Goodwill and all this other happy joy stuff. Like, I just didn't think they had the guts to pull the trigger.
Yeah, it's a big risk.
And they did.
Big risk.
And they did it right, to be honest with you, because the history between him and The Rock is, obviously there's rivals about it, but, like, it's well known, right? Like, it's known.
Yeah.
So the fact that he aligned himself with The Rock, and they kind of glazed on it yesterday, and, Cena actually said it. But there's a lot of ramifications for this. So I'm just going to spew my train of consciousness a little bit, and then we'll pick up the pieces where we go here. Long story short, I think Cena goes over. This is why I think Cena goes over. It's the biggest point, and to be honest with you, this is part of the reason why I had Jay going over Gunther. Part of the reason, because I felt that Cena going over was kind of a ending on a downer. Now, to your point about the crowd in Las Vegas, I think there's a caveat to that, and I was listening to a Fightful Selects podcast, and they actually brought up this point, and I thought it was brilliant. You have more casual wrestling fans at WrestleMania right now.
That's true.
You do not have, guys like us that would be like embedded weekly watchers that watch all this stuff, right? So you're going to get casual guys. Well, casual guy might not know Cody Rhodes, but he definitely knows
John Cena,
right? So, maybe they're a big Peacemaker fan. I don't know. But the point is that he's a known commodity. Cena is going to go over. And the reason I really think that is, in order to get a legitimate 17 on him, this is the only time in this run where you can pull it off. Because you have the advantage of The Rock pulling strings to get his guy over. This is not a clean finish. There's going to be shenanigans upon shenanigans. I mean, shit. Look at how they overbooked last year. It was ridiculous.
Yes.
Last year was uberly overbooked, but it was counter for counter, so I give him credit for that. But the previous year, it was not, and Cody lost. So let's put Cody in a bad position again. For Cody, Cody losing is not a bad thing here. Look, he's still the face of the company, right? He's everywhere. And honestly, let's call it the way it is. He took the John Cena playbook and he ran with it.
Yeah.
Plain and simple, no question, no ifs, buts or musts.
Yeah. No,
he just took the playbook and said, "Okay, I'll do the same thing." And he grassrooted himself to where he is right now. Cody's story between now and SummerSlam, at a minimum, if not longer, is going to be The Rock screwing Cody Rhodes. They are going to put Cody Rhodes in horrible matches, handicap matches where you can get broken in half. Doesn't matter. They're going to put it. But you and I had little slightly different spins, and I do want to share this one. So Matt and I went down this entirely crazy rabbit hole.
Yes.
Where obviously Triple H's chief content officer, The Rock, is on the board. Rock starts interfering with match assignments to screw Cody. Triple H gets fed up, but Triple H obviously cannot wrestle anymore because of his heart. So he gets his proxy from the good old days, and that would be Randy Orton.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens with that? Well, then you get John Cena, Randy Orton. Once Orton beats Cena, then you have Cody, who has a history with Orton, chase Randy, and that's how Cody, that sets up your match for Cody to get his match back. You actually take care of a huge, huge opportunity there by running this through and getting to Randy Orton. This is all about connect the dots, right? John Cena's run doesn't really matter. You got to give it a little bit of time. He's still got to play out to be a heel. A 2-year-old could identify that. We all know at the end of December that Cena is going to be a face by the end of the rainbow, right? So, but what this does is, when you have The Rock involved, is eventually he's got to turn on The Rock and PO The Rock off, and that's what sets up the final match between The Rock and Cena, because I think Rock is ending Cena's career.
I think so. Yep.
I think that's preordained, but by Cena, that's who you know how it goes with the long-term wrestlers. They're like, I'm retiring. Okay, cool. Who do you want to put out your misery? And Undertaker took out Shawn Michaels and all this other stuff. It's just how it goes. It's not a bad thing. Let them go out on their own terms.
Unless you're Kurt Angle and you get stuck with Baron Corbin for your farewell match when I forget who he wanted. Or Angle wanted somebody else. I forget who it was.
Angle is a unique case.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Angle could barely walk at that point. So, but
That's why I said Angle's a unique case.
I just like to throw up old stuff. That's all. Yeah,
Thank you, Michael Cole.
yeah.
But
In
yeah,
1926, Stanley and Sabisco. Yeah, okay.
so I really think there's a lot of ways that you can spin this, right? But I think at the end of the day, this is the prime opportunity. And then going back to the crowd thing, you had the mixed crowd, right? No, are people you're going to get booed? That crowd is going to be 50-50 no matter what
Yes.
you do. Last night, the boos you heard is because that crowd is 50-50. It is not because Cody isn't over anymore. There's a lot of Cody hate out there. I get it, but if it's not your cup of tea, it's not your cup of tea. We're all here to gripe, moan, and complain. I've done my fair share on 2 episodes of this podcast already. But ultimately, like, Cody doesn't get hurt by losing to Cena.
No, never.
He's one of the few people that he could lose to that nobody's going to go, he's done. He can still be the face of the company.
Yeah.
He can still chase. But the beauty of this is with The Rock putting barriers in his way,
Yes.
it keeps him away from John Cena. And John Cena can go off and piss off whoever the hell he wants. He'll probably disappear for like 2 weeks just to make everybody think like, oh, he ran away with the title.
So we're gonna play with the spinner belt. Yeah.
I'm sticking to it. This is my early prediction. You all heard it here first. John Cena wins the title. He brings back the spinner belt because he gave you a toy. He keeps the real belt and he brings back the spinner belt to screw everybody over and make everybody mad.
I mean, it's definitely
the ultimate heel move.
It is a heel move. A total heel move. Worse than when KO took the wing belt, which that was great. I loved it when KO took the wing belt. It was great for the time he had. It was perfect. But anyway, yeah, this is gonna be a lot of fun. And Sean and I were talking, and we were just talking about what the future would be after this with Cody and Cena. And I think I might have said, well, what about Randy Orton? Can we get Randy Orton in this? And that would give Randy Orton 15. Cena has 17. Supposedly beating Ric Flair. Ric's got like 22 or 23. There's a couple that he had to do a title change in Puerto Rico because if he didn't drop the title in Puerto Rico, Ric Flair probably would have been murdered in San Juan. He thought it was smart to drop the title. They weren't recognized, but he's won like 22 or 23. Regardless, it's wrestling. It's not like we're going to fudge Tom Brady having 7 Super Bowl wins and make it while there was 6 unofficial ones. So no, we'll go with what they say the record book is. 17, I guess, is the number. I think you still got to give. Randy's been awesome. I think you got to throw Randy. I'd give Randy a title reign this year. I think you just do that. He's a gap filler because it just doesn't make sense for Cena to hold the title all the way to the fall. It just doesn't. And again, it's back to Sean and I's view on part-time champions. We hate part-time. Sean hates part-time wrestlers more than I do. I don't mind if you have part-time wrestlers, but they better not hold the title. Like they can come in and do their thing, a couple times a year, but like for a part-timer to hold the title, to me, I think it devalues the title. I think it's insulting to the fans. So I think, we want to see the titles defended. They're supposed to mean something. So by having somebody hold a title and defend it 3 times in a year, it's not fair to the fans, and it looks selfish. So rant over on
time out. Disclaimer, because the trolls are coming. I'm just letting you know, Matt. The trolls are going to be coming on that comment.
Well,
so look, I know Cody hasn't defended the belt much this year.
He defended it more than the last guy that held it.
Well, in fairness, he's been kind of not, but he's also been put in storylines where he wasn't.
But he's been on TV all the time throughout the year.
I concur with that, and that's the counter to
He's been a present champion. Because we're not even going to talk about house shows, but Cody defends on house shows and all that. But he probably had since he defended the title? He's been on quite about half the pay-per-views or 2/3.
He's been on them, but it hasn't all been for the title. So, like, I don't want to get into this. A lot of people, that's one of the triggers is when you start talking about title defenses, especially because there is a lot of Roman Reigns stands out there. And again, I fully admit I went on a Roman Reigns tirade in part 1, and I'm not going to apologize for it. It's more about part-timers, and it's not just a Roman Reigns thing. It's a overall thing because I had the same feeling about Brock Lesnar. So,
Oh, I still
you
feel
know,
Cody should have defended more. We should have had some defenses on Raw because back in the day, the world title would be defended on Raw or SmackDown. I don't know why they got away from that.
I think I think one of our biggest challenges is, and I'm starting to think that this is a thing, is that belt is the cinema belt, but it's the one where the defenses don't mean as much as the storylines that go into it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
maybe if we view it through the prism of Cody's belt is the cinema belt.
cinema.
Sorry, I just had the meme rolling through my head right now. I have to say it. But
Well,
like,
a Hollywood Blondes reference from the old days. There we go.
look, man, I got to have jazz hands.
Yeah,
But no, so you got to have you got the cinema belt and then you got the working belt, right? Like we already established that the World Heavyweight Championship is the working championship level belt. Like you're out there, you're defending it. It's out there all the time. The cinema belt, you need to show it, you need to be there, but you don't always have to be in a
right,
position because you're rolled in more complicated and robust storylines is the whole point in this, right? So like this John Cena storyline is very robust and very intricate, right? You don't want half-ass measures going into that storyline, right? Like if Cody would have defended halfway between when Cena won Chamber and now WrestleMania, it devalues the whole
right.
storyline that's going on.
Oh,
So
I agree with that. I think that
I
makes
think
sense.
that that belt in particular, the way it is designed, the way it's been held, and this goes back to Roman too, is that is the cinema belt. That is the story belt. That is your main story that WWE is trying to tell you. That is the story. That is their main, you know, that's their main storyline. Everything else is a subplot, and some of the stories are good, but that's your main story. But it's about the story. So, and I think that that's the case with Cody's belt. So if we look at it through that prism, it's not necessarily bad that it is. It's special when it gets defended, but it has to be tied to a meaningful
Right,
storyline.
right. And so I have no problem with Cody not defending since Cena got you know picked into after he won the Elimination Chamber. I mean that makes sense for that. I'm just saying like you wouldn't see the titles at one time on TV for like months at a time, and that was kind of upsetting. Anyway, but back to the main event. What do you think about any possible shenanigans? Who do you got? Like, who would you put to be one of Rock's guys to mess it up? Because we all know Cena ain't going over clean. Sorry, folks, but 17 should not be a clean. There should be an asterisk next to it because there'll be controversy.
So I think The Rock himself is coming down. The Rock himself as the catalyst, just in his presence, creates a distraction. The hard to predict thing for the hard to predict thing for the shenanigans is we don't know what way they want to take this. And I have my ways I want to take this. I want The Rock to throw up barriers, which means The Rock has to have a collection of dudes, maybe even dudettes, but he needs to have cannon fodder to throw in front in between John Cena and Cody Rhodes. So when we talk in cannon fodder, we're not talking the epic and wonderful WWE security that does oh so well, even though somehow Pat McAfee managed to like restrain Drew
Right.
McIntyre and Damien Priest in the
And
kickoff.
Michael
But
Cole, I think, helped too. He was,
yeah,
yeah.
but somehow 15 security guards can't do it.
Can't stop
That's crazy.
two female wrestlers from beating. Much less John Cena and Cody Rhodes. Nothing, not to minimize the women wrestlers because they probably half them probably whoop my ass. So
I'm old. They can beat me. But
yeah, I just wouldn't have the
they might
desire.
enjoy it.
Well, I don't know. Once they knocked me down one time, I don't think I'd have the ambition to get back up. I just like whatever, just end it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. So I I just man, good stuff.
yeah, I just don't know who. So Sunday night we have to find somebody that's going to interfere with that. And is that a chance? Is that a possibility that The Rock brings out one of these returning guys like a Rusev? Does he bring out?
Does that move the needle for you?
No, I'm just
and
saying. Like, who's the guy that The Rock would take out to scoot Cody? There's one guy that's not wrestling this weekend. I brought him up early in the podcast, but could Sami Zayn?
I don't know who has. So, God,
I'm just thinking who they could throw. Who would have The Rock throw where it actually means something. Like, I just don't want them like bring out some guy, some superstar, and it like
it'll
doesn't mean
be
anything.
somebody of note.
Yeah.
Like it'll be somebody of note, but I really, I don't know. I just I can't make a prediction on what they're gonna do with that. Like, I think the longer term prediction is what I said earlier,
Yeah.
which is the story of John Cena is John Cena will go between now and I'm predicting SummerSlam. He will go between now and then, and like they are gonna put tons of roadblocks and cannon fodder in Cody's way, and Cody is gonna have to work his way back up to get to John Cena, and I think that could very well be derailed, and that SummerSlam match may not be Cody. He may still be in the midst of The Rock hates you, and Rock is going to make you pay and screw you over time and time again. A la, I mean, look, man, it's what's old is new, right? Like it's the Vince Stone Cold story. Like at the end of the day,
it is.
like it really is. Like you had the corporate champion or whomever was like the champion that everybody loved at that point, or that Vince loved at that point, and like what would happen? Guy Stone Cold was trying to come up, like, oh nope, you're going to be in this messed up match. Here's a handicap match. Here's a this match. Here's a that match. So it doesn't. I think that's what we're going to see between now and then.
And I could picture too when Triple H gets involved, The Rock's out there just being obnoxious and finally and it's not like Triple H comes out like to do a promo. He barges out from Gorilla, like still got the headset on, his shirt's unbuttoned because he's at Gorilla. His readers hanging off his nose. I mean, and, hold your breath for 30 seconds, get your bald head like nice and beat red, and he just comes out and he's pissed and he's like, "I've effing had it with you, Rock. Like you're not running all over my company. This is my responsibility. You're not stepping on my shoes. You got to do it that way because it sounds organic. If he just does like a in-ring or backstage interview with Michael Cole, like, yeah, I've had it. Like, it's got to be organic because like there's so much past history with Triple H and The Rock. Like, the Triple H should be coming out of that gorilla position and like walk 20 feet down towards the ring, realize he's got his headset off, fling it behind him, and just march like he's got a purpose and just like lay into The Rock. Of course, he can't touch him because his heart may not survive it, but
I don't know. That's a pretty long runway, man. He might.
No, not at WrestleMania. He wouldn't do it at WrestleMania, but down the line. So
yeah, I know.
Whether
it's legitimate. Like I think the universal constants for this championship match are: we know The Rock is involved. We know that there will be shenanigans. There's no way Cena can win clean.
No.
Cody is going to carry the match. Like I have no doubt. I expect a lot of slow crawling on the floor kind of stuff.
Yeah.
To kind of because I don't know. He looked fine in Elimination Chamber, but I don't need to see bloated up like John Cena. Like this is mini tirade, mini tirade.
Go ahead. Yeah.
This is what I love and hate about WWE, right? John Cena went from, I haven't won a match in like 50 years and 2,000 million days. And we wiped all that off the map and said, you know what, F it. He won Elimination Chamber. Now he's legit.
Yeah.
How the did we get to there?
And then when they get to the triple threat on Saturday night, they're bringing up history from 12 years ago, and like it's fantastic. But yet, like, hey, Cena couldn't win a scratch-off lottery ticket for like 4 years, and all of a sudden now he's like sliced bread. He's the best thing going, man.
All right, I lied. Secondary tirade, and you and I have talked about this one. So when John Cena broke the promo where he was like, "Yeah, I just deal with I eliminate mediocrity or
Yeah.
something like that. Like, bro, you just lost to Austin Theory like a couple of years ago. Like, let's slow your roll a little bit.
Undertaker beat you in 3 minutes at WrestleMania.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you've been cannon fodder for like the last few years, which all contributes to his story, which I appreciate. Like, you could definitely ride that to death, but I really do think Cena's going over though. I think Cena's going over, shenanigans with The Rock, and I think that it'll all work out. And I don't necessarily believe that the SummerSlam match for John Cena, which is where he will lose the title, and I think him losing the title becomes the rift that causes the catalyst with The Rock. Like, I did all this stuff for you, I did everything, and you still failed me, kind of deal. Final boss kind of crap, and then like you have failed me, blah 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 blah.
And that gives you what? August, September, October, November. Gives you 5 months to wrap up the Cena career story.
With holidays, Saudi Arabia, all sorts of craziness in between. So, like, yeah. And I think that by doing that, what you do is you allows Cena to become, you give it time for Cena to become a face. You give it time to get some separation from that title and Cena, because I think you need a gap there. And then I think that, that allows Cena to progress and become a face again.
And then by the end of the year, hopefully that's the end of the final boss character. Like,
I don't think that's ever
I,
going
I think they'll.
away.
I know they'll bring it back, but it just like, for example, we kind of, so we do talk a lot in between shows and stuff like that, and life in general. One of he's upset about it too, as am I. Like, how many times have we seen The Rock on television since the Cena heel turn, bro? Like, just if he would have just came out once between then and WrestleMania, it might have it would have. I think it would have helped. Definitely would have helped, because like, I guess Cena's at that point where he can speak for The Rock, I guess. Or, The Rock's given the authority to speak. But, man, The Rock's an integral part of this whole story, and he's not there. But but damn it, he'll be there Sunday night in all his glory. And
I think The Rock suffers from like a couple of things. So Rock doesn't want to be a heel,
no,
but his best character right now
is
is
a
the heel.
heel. He was
And
an active guy. He was a superb heel.
I think that like one of the big things for him, and I guess I can slightly excuse it in the sense that this whole build, I think you touched on it. We might have been not in the podcast, but you touched on this. See, I think The Rock is letting Cena be Cena and do Cena things, right? I think he's making a conscious effort to stay out of the way, let Cena have his
Yep.
tour.
Not
He
step
just
on his toes or anything. Yep.
he just wants to be the sprinkles on the cupcake, right? Like, he just wants to be that little bit of extra something something to help Cena out, right? And I think that is a good way to go. So that means after this, like after this Mania, after he interferes, maybe we see a more active role. I think you have to have a more active role, because if you are going to start the face flip around SummerSlam timeframe, that means The Rock has to be involved, and he doesn't even have to be there. It could just be like little notes and memos, hey, Triple H, you're gonna put Cody in this kind of match. He's like, I didn't have that planned. That starts generating the rift between him and Triple H, and that leads to everything going into SummerSlam. Which, but the point is him overstepping from on high from the board, leading to protecting Cena on top of that, but he's got to be active all the way up until SummerSlam, because there has to be this like interaction where it's like, okay, boss, everything's good, boss. Are you sure, boss? Are
Yep.
you really, really sure, boss? Like, what the hell are you doing to, I ain't working with you no more, right? Like, we need to see that degraded relationship as it goes, heading down the hill, so that Cena can make that face flip, and then he can buy all the kids that burn their John Cena toys, all their new toys again,
Yeah.
and be a great Cena. But
sell way more merchandise. Yeah, which makes more money. Yeah,
He's got custom merchandise everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I bet.
But yeah, so this whole, you're right, The Rock needs to be around. I'm playing devil's advocate. I don't think Rock needed to talk up until this point. Cena obviously can hold his own on the mic. Props to Cody. Cody can hold himself on the mic too.
I like angry Cody. Cody is so good on the mic when he's angry, and he's like, especially when he's talking about real life stuff, and especially like if it's something that references his dad or his wife or his kids. He's so good on that. It's just when he doesn't have like a real intense rivalry or something that makes him angry, he's good on the mic, but he's not. I mean, he's never going to be his dad. I don't think anybody will ever match up to Dusty on the mic. But
You need
but
the problem.
he's very when he's mad though. That's when he sounds most authentic.
You know why? Because his heel tendencies.
Yeah,
come
I know.
from heel.
Because he's a baby face, but he's at heart he's a heel.
He's a heel.
Yeah.
Like, period. End of story. Like, he did it again last night after he crossroads Cena, man. He freaking gave him the finger gun and blew it off and pointed at the freaking WrestleMania sign.
Threw his hat at him and stuff after. I think Paul Cena's hat threw it at. Here's the problem too I have with, and it's a little nitpicky stuff. So if people think like, oh man, Jack's just crapping on everything, no, I'm not. A little bit. So the first time when he caught Cena last week or the week before with the crossroads, that was cool. But the ease that he did it last night, it's just like it didn't sit right because he just grabbed him and like Cena went limp. Like he didn't like try to struggle out of him. He just grabbed him and flipped him, and then like Cena's like dead.
Yeah, I know. Well, the fact that he doesn't get up from one single solitary crossroads.
No, I know. Like he's probably laying in the ring until they start taking the ring down. Like he doesn't move.
No. He was okay. So there was footage of him post SmackDown, and he finally got up. He walked over to the microphone, picked up the microphone like he was getting ready to talk, and then just gave it a little bit of a chuck.
Oh, so this was after he went off the air from USA?
There's footage of it. He did it. He went full heel again.
Good. Good.
God, I'd give him credit, man. Like, there's little stuff that John Cena does, like in this little run. Like when he came out of Chamber, like after everything went down, you're like, ooh, can't wait to see what
Yeah.
Because we all know why, John, why? And he just walked up and dropped the mic, and I was like, oh, that's so good. And then last night, like I said, this is after the show. He's not on camera anymore. He doesn't have to do this.
No.
What does he do? Picks up the microphone. They're like, oh, John's gonna talk. He was just like, gotcha.
Yeah, because he knows all that post TV stuff that they do. Everybody's recording that. It's on TikTok and Facebook and all that stuff. So he knows it gets out. So yeah, it's another opportunity.
Yep, I'm telling you,
free chicken.
His heel work is really good.
Yeah,
I give him credit. And I kind of the only sucky part about him as a heel is I don't have a lot of desire. Like, I don't want to see him go up against Gunther. I don't care. That doesn't do anything. It's unfortunately for him, and kind of positive for all of us, we just need the guys that have been around forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I care when he wrestles The Rock. I care if he wrestles Randy Orton. I care that he goes up against, shit. Even in a one-off match, like I'm going to show you how great I am. Do it to The Miz. I don't care. But I don't want to see him up against Braun Breaker. I don't want to see him up against Gunther.
I don't think they'd be very good matches anyway. I don't.
Yeah, but I don't want to see him up against Jay. I don't care about any of that.
No.
I want him to be in matches with known good wrestlers. Like, not to say that Braun Breaker isn't in any of them, but like,
AJ Styles would be good. AJ, you could throw AJ in there.
I could live with the Styles. It would have to be a minor PLE, but like,
yeah, or Saturday Night's Main Event. Be good show for that.
That would be a good one too. So that's kind of my point. That'll be in the handicap lumberjack in the steel cage match for Cody. I don't know. I'm just combining everything.
Yeah.
He's just going to be in everything. He's going to be in an elimination chamber where just giant jaguars jump out and like slay him, and The Rock's just going to go that crazy. And then the following week he'll have to wrestle a bear or something. I don't know. I'm seriously expecting like just misery for Cody
Oh yeah.
between now and SummerSlam, and I want it. I want it so bad because that'll bring all the people that are discontent with him. We all know it's hard to have a long run as a face and a champion. It's just so hard because the story is the chase, and you know you don't have to have a long chase. Cody just needs a nudge.
Yeah.
He need, you know,
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with his run because he's there. Like I'm hearing from him. The problem is honestly for him, there hasn't been very good heels for him to go up against.
No, and then when they stop becoming heels, then they get hurt, like KO and some others. Drew had to take some time off, and so
Well, that KO match, like just look at that. That was great.
yeah.
I'll take that all day, every day.
Yes.
Like that. If I'm sitting there wincing and like, oh my god, like the ladder spot was brutal.
Yeah.
And KO is such a good bumper, man. So good. Like the fact that he never moved after he went through that ladder. Like I got it again. I'm giving KO his flowers, man, because I know he can't wrestle right now because he's recovering. But holy crud! Oh, I needed to hit the. Oh, Matt and Sean got off on a tangent again.
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
We really got to figure that out.
Yeah.
Whoop whoop whoop
Whoop whoop whoop.
Tangent alert.
Yeah.
So
I know I gotta get a Diet Coke button so I can get another soda here soon. Well, so have we covered everything we wanted to cover about WrestleMania?
I think we have. Just as a disclaimer to all the folks out there, Matt and I have talked about it. If there is just an oh my gosh, oh my god, instead of him and I talking on the phone like we normally do, we're gonna hop on here. We'll cut a quick mini bite podcast, throw it out there to y'all so you guys can hear what we were thinking, our instant reactions from night 1 and or 2, and so yeah, Matt, tell them what to do.
Well, we're gonna try and trim it a little bit on our future episodes. I know these both have gone kind of long, but this is the biggest. This is the Super Bowl of wrestling. This is the Daytona 500, the World Series. This is their big weekend. So we went a little long, but we haven't talked about. Well, we talked a little bit. Really, we don't know what's going on for Raw. We always know there's a big surprise, a return. If we don't see Rusev this weekend, I think Rusev shows up Monday. There'll be some surprises. If we have talked about if it'll be great for Paul Heyman and Seth to come out on Monday Night Raw and gloat about night 1 and just gloat, and then we'll have Seth and I don't know if Roman's booked for Monday, but I'm sure CM Punk will be there, which is fine because I think Roman's already mad enough at Paul because Punk took him. Now Punk can be mad that Seth took him. So that'll be a good 20-30 minute segment on Monday.
Quick aside that just popped in my head as we were talking about Roman. Jay goes over, Roman loses. Talking about that humbling thing. I need Roman there when Jay comes out, and Roman to pay some flowers to Jay.
Yeah, acknowledge Jay.
I need just a smidge of that. I think that would be some great hotness, and it really sets up some long-term stuff too.
It does. It does. So I guess we're gonna wrap this one up. But please like and subscribe, and don't hesitate to put some comments down underneath what you liked, what you didn't like, what you'd like to see. I think maybe as this goes along, I think we could also look at possibly doing some of the old timer fans. Maybe we can go back and you just can say, hey, what would you do different with the first Hogan run? Or what would you do different with the NWO? And I think we could probably do a short little thing about, well, no, you can't do anything short with the NWO unless you keep it at 3 people, not 74 like they had at one point. But
your entire roster.
Yeah. Let's see. Even the guys that are hurt. Hey, we'll have they had an NWO ref, didn't they? I didn't watch a lot of WCW in the '90s.
There was some guy that was on the payroll or
was
something.
Was that Nick Patrick? I think, or Tommy Young. Nick Patrick, I think, was the.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
They had somebody on the payroll, and I don't know, man. Like that's for another time. It's WrestleMania. We got night 1 tonight,
Yes.
but this is the night 2 podcast.
Yes. So, in closing for me, enjoy the shows this weekend and happy Easter, and we'll see you after Raw.
Yeet.
Yeet.